To fit the topic of cyberbullying, I want to share first a real event happening beside me with you guys. I was really angry about this cyberbullying event because it has happened to my friend and it is still happening right now. It begins with when I found out she just stopped sharing her life on medias and became super quiet even with her classmates. So, I asked her what's happening during this whole semester. She told me that she was cyberbullied, and I was really shocked. I never thought people around me would get treated this way. Because of this, I wanted to make this video. It all started from her answering questions asking for information of her school, such as, how's the daily school life? How's the learning environment, and are the class schedules balanced? However, her comments are liked by so many students from her school, and it became really famous on the social media. Soon, the school noticed and her parents was asked to talk with her homeroom teacher. The school leader took measures quickly, and soon the comment area was filled with voices refuting her views, and the situation intensified. Immediately, some of them saying that they are her schoolmates started denying and criticizing her. And even some parents popped out from nowhere, said that they knew from the start that she was a brainless student who liked spreading rumors. The whole event just started from a friendly reply which wanted to let students applying the school learn about the school environment, to her being regarded as the one who should be criticized on her character. She told me everyone was looking at her at school, even some of the students that doesn't know her slanders behind her back. This was a severe blow to her high school life, affecting her normal life in every way. As someone who knew her, I was the most outraged because she didn't do anything denigrating her school and bad enough to be in a situation like this. These internet rioters only showed their ignorance in all the comments they left pointing at her non-existing flaws. Are you now wondering which school on earth is so shameless? It might be ridiculous if I do not specify the school name after presenting to you the story. I can give you a hint that it is a famous international senior high school located in China. So, now you have 5 seconds to make a guess in the comments area. Time is up. Before bringing out the answer, I would like to ask you a few questions. Since I told you the story from a very subjective perspective, is my friend necessarily right or the school measure necessarily wrong? Have I presented any evidence to prove the authenticity of the story? Have you started to abuse the school, either silently from your heart or physically in the comment area? In fact, the story is totally a fake story, and it was me who made it all up. It is a live reconstruction of a cyber attack. Still, I apologize for deceiving you with this story, but I think it is a great start of our documentary about cyberbullying. Here are some real cases of cyberbullying, and I swear I'm not making up stories this time. A girl in the United States hanged herself after being subjected to random online rumors and verbal attacks from onlookers who were unaware of the facts. In fact, the girl went through this ordeal without anyone knowing her psychological condition. Mallory Rose Grossman was a 6th grader and truly the liveliest girl in her mother's description. However, she committed suicide after 9 months of cyberbullying, and her body was found hanging on her bedroom closet without anyone noticing. The trouble first started with her classmates and then turned to online abusing. Mallory's grade first began to drop, and then she quit cheerleader after a while. Before the night she committed suicide, 2 pictures about her were posted online by 2 girls. One showing her walking toward the school bus, and the other saying that, "You have no friends. When are you going to kill yourself?" The cyberbullying did not rest. Until the day she died, Mallory's parents did not know at all how she had been bullied online and what she had been through. This tragedy tells us that it is important for cyberbullying victims to share their negative feelings with people around. especially parents. In addition, those who seem outgoing might also be suffering from internal pain, so their mental health should be equally paid attention to. The second case is a 19-year-old TikToker named Claudia who has over 140,000 followers find it more peaceful to post videos on her second account with just 13 and 100 followers. The cyberbullying began when Claudia was fat ashamed after posting a dance video on her first TikTok account. The situation was exacerbated when an influencer, whom she refused to name, joined in. What she found particularly distressed was that no one stood up for her, and even her fans were liking the body-shaming comments. The incident took a serious toll on her mental health, and he even considered quitting TikTok and leaving behind her work for more than 5 years for the sake of her own well-being. In the end, she opted to switch to a second account instead, in which no one popped out again to discourage her. The absence of cyberbullying in Claudia's second account shows that cyberbullying is to a large extent caused by conformity to the public. Plus, when faced with cyberbullying, we should try to come up with appropriate solutions instead of making arbitrary decisions which might lead to future regret. The third case is another girl who experienced cyberbullying, hanging herself on a dog leash to find liberation. Soon, 2 girls that are responsible for this were arrested after careful investigation. According to the police, one of the suspects admitted that she has started rumors about the victim, Green, in person and online. The 2 girls did not notify any adult or authority about Green's commitment to suicide. Despite these wrongdoings, they admitted that they fully understand that this action of cyberbullying and threatening will result in emotional distress for Green. A boy reported that he video chatted with the victim after she told him she attempted to hang herself, and he saw there were marks on her neck showing she had already tried hurting herself before. One of the victim's cousins also reflected that she hanged herself with a dog leash, which was not what a child with good mental health would do. The death only happened weeks after the start of bullying, and this event further emphasized the fact that cyberbullying is shockingly harmful to the young's mental health.
The story began when Qian unknowingly bought fake shoes and was exposed by her classmate on the internet. The news was spread wantonly and crazy online with countless abuse comments criticizing her dishonesty. Her classmates even posted this event on school public platform, which laid the gossip among those who did not know the true story. All of a sudden, her taped questioning box was filled with malicious comments and some undignified words from other students, which really pricked her psychologically and forced her to delete up 500 friends from WeChat.
心路历程一开始会比较的委屈，因为没想到会有这么多人讨厌我，而且外表性格都是家长给的，我没办法改变很多。后来看开了，就没什么关系。然后对于这件事情的做法，我其实整个过程也没有说太多话，就只是回答一下他们的问题。至于外表什么的攻击，我也只说了抱歉，就也没有办法回应太多。这件事情对我并没有什么太大的影响，可能一开始会有点影响心情，然后因为也不是很在意这些评价，所以对生活没有什么太大影响。对于处理这次事的方法，我对自己还算满意。如果再来一次，我可能会说的更少。对于这些人，我建议都过好自己的生活。如果做的事情没有影响到社会或者国家，就不要管太多别人的生活。
Xu became the butt of joke among her classmates after she was rejected from the boy that she liked. Her classmates called her terrible nickname online and mocked her on social media platforms based on her imperfect figure and appearance. She increasingly doubted about her appearance and experienced psychological trauma. Eventually, she cut off her long hair for a silent protest.
这种网暴让我有了阴影吧。有一段时间，我对男生充满了厌恶，甚至对家人也是。我也因为这件事害怕被人讨厌，害怕被人骂，特别是男生。如果男生对我说了诋毁的话，就会想起他说的，然后我的情绪会很暴躁，会很难受。没有什么满意不满意的，我还是当时一时冲动，把事情闹得更大，那对双方都没有好处。这件事情也算对我有一个教训吧。语言暴力或许会让你一时很爽，但你不知道这样做的后果。你的过分行为会让更多本就迷茫的人更加不知所措，到最后放弃生命。他们明明没有做错，却因为你们施暴者而无法继续生活。停手吧。
After watching those real cases and interviews, we can see that the impact of cyberbullying upon victims can be damaging. Faced with hundreds of thousands of abusive words on the internet, most victims will more or less suffer from psychological trauma or mental illness, sometimes even accompanied by suicide. In fact, I have a senior who has also experienced cyberbullying. But when I invited her to accept the interview, she politely rejected and said that I don't really want to talk about it again. All I know is from her friend circle sharing that about a year ago, a boy popping out from nowhere called her wife on various social media and sent private letters threatening her with photos of her classmates. She had tried calling the police for several times, but the police simply ignored her due to her young age. Losing the last layer of security, she became helpless and scared with anger for not getting the police's attention. Not long after the incident, she got depression, and I'm not sure whether there is a connection between her illness and this incident, but obviously the probability cannot be neglected. This further emphasizes the pressing need for a solution to reduce the problem of cyberbullying. Before getting to the solution, it is important for us to know about the causes of cyberbullying. Actually, cyberbullying is an inevitable byproduct of our time, in which rapid electronization results in the social atmosphere of amusing ourselves to death. Wait. Amusing ourselves to death? How can we get amused to death? In fact, it is the title of a book written by Neil Postman, an American educator, media theorist, and social critic. The book elaborates the spirit of a culture in which all public discourse increasingly takes the form of entertainment, which has provided people with new ways to spread and perceive information. The following ideas I'm going to share with you are all derived from the book. First of all, there is something wrong with the spread of information. Today's medium always enforce their special definitions of reality through unobtrusive but powerful implication. Sequence it, frame it, enlarge it, reduce it, color it. Argue a case for what the world is like. That is, embellishment or even distortion of reality. For instance, here is a photo of a soldier in a video call with an enemy's mother, laughing dreadfully at her son's death. However, if I make it into black and white so that the skin color is not recognized, and I tell you that it is a soldier facing a life or death ordeal, making a sad call with her mother, you will probably begin to sympathize him rather than criticize him. The example might be a little bit flawed, but the point is for you to realize that medium can really present their so-called facts in their own ways to reach the purpose of distortion. This lays a large part of blame on the informants who provide cited information, who intentionally or unintentionally bias people against the reality, causing misunderstandings and aggressive public reactions. Secondly, with the simplification of idea expression, people are deprived of the inclination and the ability to think deeply when perceiving information. Today's media, such as televisions and mobile phones, conduct information through visual image more often than words, leading to more emphasis on external appearances rather than in-depth ideas. The plain language used in videos also makes the understanding of information much easier than patiently reading articles. Gradually, people have formed the habit of making judgments quickly and superficially based on what they have seen directly without any deep thinking. For example, after watching a video that a man beat a teenager in the swimming pool, they immediately got to the conclusion that the man was depraved, not knowing the fact that the teenager kept spitting on the man's wife even after several warnings from the man, eventually causing the wife's commitment to suicide. After seeing the chatting records between a girl and a courier, in which the courier rejected the girl's offer to pay him an additional fee for 5 kilometers on foot, they quickly judged the girl as a typical selfish Chinese who was only willing to pay the hardworking courier 200 yuan, not even realizing the original positivity of the event. These misunderstandings are constantly happening in our society. Although the gossipers might think themselves advocating justice, with increasing number of people falling into conformity and striking their keyboard to stand on the public side against a single person, the danger has come silently and destructively. The person whom the public spit against, no matter morally right or wrong, becomes the final victim of cyberbullying. That's how cyberbullying begins, with framing of information and lack of deep thinking.
With the trend of global network, many countries have begun to pay attention to the issues of cyberbullying and have implemented some legal measures to control the situation. For example, in California, one of the laws says that the cyberbullying charged as a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail and/or a fine of up to $1,000. In Florida, schools are given the power to suspend or expel students found guilty of bullying. Without doubt, these laws have, at least to some extent, restrict inappropriate online behavior, which provide people with some protection and help when faced with cyberbullying. However, according to research, it believes that there are still a lot of bugs and errors in those laws, whose ineffectivity have also reflected in the real cases previously mentioned. People's lack of understanding of the laws might count for one reason, but more to the fact that the laws themselves are sort of impractical. The first problem is late reporting and thus late actions. When faced with online violence, many young people don't know how to share their troubles with parents, friends, or doctors. The act of bearing sadness in heart will easily cause irreversible results, as previously said in the video, like psychological trauma and mental illness, and in severe cases, even at the risk of suicide. Even if the problem is identified earlier and reported to the court, it may also be useless because the legal process usually takes time. Secondly, although laws in many regions still have some measures against cyberbullying, some small-scale cyberbullying is not covered. Without real threats or child pornography, a large number of cyberbullying cases would remain unnoticed by authority. But does a minor cyber attack necessarily mean that the victim is not seriously harmed? It is precisely these neglected cyber attacks that cause even deeper damage to the victim. There's an example already mentioned in the last section about the girl ignored by the police. And even after an accident happens, it is hard to identify the perpetrator so that punishment cannot be conducted, which is extremely unfair to the victim family. Lastly, in many cases, it may be necessary to look through young people's mobile phone while researching for evidence. Although the laws can be passed against the perpetrators, many have argued that giving school the right to research through their students' mobile phone is a violation to the First Amendment. In some areas, people have the right to keep their privacy and refuse to cooperate, which makes it difficult for schools to find evidence and punish students even if they receive the reports. As a result, schools will simply turn a blind eye to the incidents. Therefore, although internet violence has attracted government's attention, some policies implemented are still flawed with lengthy procedure, absent attention, and limits rights. Taking these common problems into account, obviously, external measures alone are not enough to address cyberbullying, which leads to the last part of the video, recommendations.
So finally, here comes our recommendation to prevent you guys from getting involved into cyberbullying or becoming the perpetrator. First, know about the cause and danger of cyberbullying. This is the most essential and fundamental one among the all. A lot of gossipers are totally unaware of their involvement in cyberbullying due to their lack of understanding of its cause. Instead, they always consider themselves advocating justice, not knowing the damaging impacts their action will leave upon victims. As long as more people can realize the cause and danger of cyberbullying, they will consciously control themselves before publishing anything that might cause cyberbullying. In fact, this is more or less one of the purpose of our documentary, to inform you of the whole picture of cyberbullying.
Second, learn not to be impulsive or swayed by one-sided information.
The sided information can definitely make people emotional whether or not it's the aim of those informants. But we should still keep our critical thoughts and stay calm. Especially when you find the public standing on one side against a single person, you should be on alert and try not to fall into conformity. Before making any speech online, ensure the sources are reliable and complete enough. And also try to keep your words more constructive and positive to prevent any harmful effects on others. Third, we do need to popularize some laws on the internet language. Suppose people are still sending negative or attacking information after warning. In this case, there should be enacting laws to punish those gossipers, so the people won't dare send any negative things on the internet due to the law's constraint. Fourth, media time control to improve deep thinking abilities. According to what we have mentioned previously, the social environment of amusing ourselves to death has deprived people of their critical thoughts, inclination, and ability, which serves as an important cause of cyberbullying. In order to solve the cyberbullying issue based on its roots, we should first rectify the social tendency of amusing ourselves to death by controlling people's time spent on media, especially limiting their time on watching short video. This should be controlled both by outside forces, such as team mode, and by their internal willingness. In this way, instead of mindlessly watching videos, they can do something else interesting that can help them develop the habits of deep thinking. If more people could think independently and thoroughly, the risks of cyberbullying would obviously decline. Avoid becoming the victim. First, if you are faced with cyberbullying, share your troubles with your parents, friends, or doctors, instead of bearing the pain on your own. When expressing your dilemma, you can let out your emotion and thus release your stress to some extent. You can also get some comforts and valuable suggestions from others. so that it will be less likely for you to do something arbitrary or extreme.
Even if you are not sure whether you are experiencing cyberbullying, once you feel unusually uncomfortable online, talk to people around you so that you can have a clear picture of your situation.
Second, protect yourself in the right way. At the very beginning, when there is a sign of cyberbullying, you can fight back against those abusers. If it's simply caused by misunderstanding, present them with the real situation from the objective perspective, so that people can know about the reality and probably stop abusing you.
If it's caused by something else, like controversial ideas or even causeless bullying,
talk about your own opinion patiently and logically, and you are likely to be understood. Otherwise, gossipers might consider you as a weak person and continue to harass you in cyberspace. But be aware of your attitude. Do not seem too rebellious. Calm language is more convincing than impulsive ones. When the cyberbullying continues, you should find ways to maintain your confidence. If you believe in yourself, you are less likely to get depression or anxiety even though faced with all kinds of abusive words. Just come to yourself that you are the right one, while others are wrong about you. If the situation gets increasingly severe and cannot stop, you should take legal procedures. Appealing to laws is a great way to prevent more damage from further bullying. Here's a good example of positive protection. A girl called Macmillian once got bullied in cyberspace, given the nickname Fat Whale due to her fatness. Instead of being sad and depressed,
she contacted plus-size model Laura Lee and came up with the concept of designing a t-shirt to help save whales.
She raised money by selling t-shirts through a website that read D the Fat Whales Saves the Whales. Many Laura Lee supporters backed D in her attempt to protect the whales and fought against the bullying. Up till now, D has already raised $3,380 to help the whales. The girl turned the damage of cyberbullying into the power of the assisting whales, and all thanks to her confidence and kindness.
Together,
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 let's fight against the cyberbullying and create a better world.